The Tesla Cybertruck is the most ridiculous vehicle that I've ever seen. And 3 months ago, I ordered one. So today in this video, I'll be explaining the logic behind that purchase, and I'll also be giving my opinion on all of the other Tesla cars which are currently available. So if you want to know specifically which Cybertruck it was that I purchased, it was the tri-motor version. It's the most expensive one. This truck will be able to travel 500 plus miles on a single charge, which is ridiculous. In comparison, my Tesla Model 3, which I currently own, that can do 250. And 250 definitely gets me where I need to be. So with 500 plus miles of range, I reckon even on long journeys that I do within the UK, I'd potentially be able to avoid supercharging altogether and just charge from home at the beginning and then on the return trip of the journey. The tri-motor Cybertruck can tow up to 7 tons, which is completely useless to me. I don't need to tow any tons, but it'd be nice to know that I could if I wanted to. And the car's also bulletproof.
Oh my god.
Kind of. So why did I order one? The Model 3 is already a big purchase for me. I don't really need a Cybertruck. Why'd I do it? Well, first of all, yes, the truck looks weird, but I really like it. I like stuff that's different, and I'm sure that there would be a massive market for people wanting to watch YouTube videos on them, and obviously I earn income from doing that. But also, this was a pre-order. This was a £100 fully refundable pre-order. They won't actually start producing these vehicles till late 2021, and I imagine it'll probably be 2022 before they're doing anything with them in the UK. So at this moment in time, in April 2020, I don't need a Cybertruck. I probably can't warrant spending about £60,000 on a Cybertruck, but maybe in 2 years' time, this channel will have continued to grow, as well as my other channels, and maybe I'll be earning enough where I'm in a position to actually be able to go through with this purchase. But if in 2 years' time I decide that, yeah, maybe spending £60,000 on a Cybertruck would be a bit silly at the moment, then I just cancel my pre-order because it's fully refundable and I get my £100 back. I like to think that my business will grow exponentially and I will be able to buy this ridiculous car. So if that's the case, then because of this pre-order, I'll be, near the front of the queue. But if that's not the case, no, I'm done. I just get my refund and we just carry on doing whatever it is I'm doing in 2022. I will say that if the prices don't change, the top range Cybertruck starts at £56,000. So then it'd be an extra £5,800 for autopilot. So you're looking about 60 grand, which for how ridiculous this car is, the fact that it can do 500 miles of range and not to 60 and wait for it 2.9 seconds. That is ridiculous. I feel like £60,000. That's pretty good when you compare the fact that a Model X is £100,000 plus. But yeah, subscribe to the channel and in 2 years' time, we might have a Cybertruck, you never know. So, would I consider purchasing any other Teslas? Obviously, right now we already have the Tesla Model 3, so let's talk about that first. We purchased the Tesla Model 3 standard range. This is the cheapest of all of the Teslas that you can get. But still, it's an amazing car, and I absolutely love it. If I knew what I know now, 8 months ago when I ordered the car, and I'd known that this channel was going to do well, I probably would have spent an extra £10,000 on the long range version of the car instead of the standard range, which would have increased how far I could travel by about 70 miles. But obviously, there was potential that no one would be interested in this channel and we wouldn't be able to start earning the money back, so it was too big of a risk for me to take at the time. But to be fair, the standard range I've not had any issues with, but you do find that when you're on long journeys you're thinking about your charge. Even though I've always made it to my destination or a supercharger with loads of charge, I think that if I'd got the long range version I wouldn't be thinking about my charge as much. The performance version, to me, completely unnecessary. It's more expensive, and for me personally the standard range is completely fast enough. It's 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds, which is very quick. It's about 4 times quicker than the 0 to 60 in my Citroen C1, which was my previous car. I'm more than happy with the speed of the standard range model. We purchased the car in Midnight Silver, which in my opinion is the nicest of all of the colours. I do think the blue is a close second though. I will say that Midnight Silver looks way better in person than it does in YouTube videos, and the red looks much better in thumbnails, hence why my car is red in all of my thumbnails. Now let's talk about the Model S. So obviously this is a more expensive car, but I can honestly say that if I was to choose between a Model S and a Model 3, and they were the same price, I'd pick the Model 3. This will be a controversial one, but I think the Model 3 looks nicer than the Model S. Now, I will say that I think a Model 3 looks much better in person than it does when you watch it on YouTube, which I have heard other people say. But the Model S, it's longer than the Model 3, and the Model 3 is already pretty long. I just feel like it's got a really long nose, and it kind of slopes down at the front. I accept that loads of you are going to disagree, and that's fine, but yeah, that's my personal opinion. And also, I don't like the interior. I know some people think that it's too simplistic, but I personally absolutely love love the simplicity of the interior on the Model 3 and also on the Cybertruck. I just feel like it's made the interiors on the Model S and the Model X look kind of outdated. And now every car that I look at that's got more than like 5 buttons, I just feel like that looks old-fashioned. And I think that the Model 3 interior is just superior in that regard. Not just with Teslas, but with cars generally. Obviously, the Model S is also faster, but once again, my standard range 5.3 seconds 0 to 60 Model 3, that is completely fast enough for me. As someone that's only been driving for 3 years, I don't need a car that's any faster. I will say though that the Model S can generally travel further, which is obviously a big bonus, and also it's got a power assisted boot, which is nice. That's something I wish my Model 3 happened. I wish that the boot would open itself. So if I prefer the Model 3 to the Model S, then what's my opinion on the Model Y? Because the Model Y is basically a Model 3 that's been stretched upwards slightly in Photoshop. Yeah, I absolutely love the Model Y. It's a Model 3 that's just bigger and you can fit more in it. The interior is exactly the same, you just sit a bit higher on the road, so obviously I really love that. I think another difference with the interior is they've added wireless charging, so you can just place your phone at the front console and it charges wirelessly, which is cool. I think that the turbine wheels compared to my aero wheel caps and also the black alloys underneath, I love them. I think the turbine wheels look unreal. So the Model Y is not currently available in the UK and I don't know when it's coming out, but depending on what my now second-hand Model 3 is worth when the Model Y comes out, I could potentially see myself swapping the 3 for a Y, obviously depending on how this channel's doing, the price of the Y in the UK, and once again the price of my car if I was to sell it, because it's basically just an upgraded version. So it's bigger everywhere, it's much taller, but it's also 2.8 inches wider than the Model 3, which if you've seen our garage video, that would be a problem, and I imagine that it potentially wouldn't fit in the garage, so we'd have to move house if we were to get a Model Y, which perhaps makes it not quite worth the effort. I think one of the biggest bonuses of the Model Y over the Model 3 is the boot, because the Model 3 has a big boot that you can get loads of stuff in, such as my brother's wedding cake, which by the way we got to the wedding safely in wonderful condition. Sorry, I should have done an update at the end of that video. But the issue with the Model 3 is because it's like a sedan or a saloon or whatever you want to call it, the actual entrance to the boot is quite narrow, so there's loads of space inside the boot, but getting tall things into it is a genuine struggle, and that's why I bumped the bloody wedding cake on the way in. Whereas the Model Y's got that hatchback boot, so it opens up, it's absolutely massive. There's a little button in the boot to get the seats down as well, which isn't in the Model 3. You have to lift them down manually, so there's just a ridiculous amount of space in the Y. So hey, what's my opinion on the Model X? I'm not too bothered about the Model S. I really like the Model Y. Do I like the Model X? Yes, of course I do. Have you seen that car?
Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like.
The biggest issue with the Model X is it's just really, really expensive. The long range version starts at 86,000 in the UK and the performance version starts at 100,000, which is just a ridiculous amount of money, when in practicality terms the Model Y is the same, but it's nearing half the price. So I'd never buy a Tesla Model X brand new at this point, because I feel like it is outdated compared to the others. The interior, for example, once again, I just don't like it at all compared to the Model 3 and the Model Y. I hate that the screen's portrait rather than landscape. I don't know what the logic was with that. If you're looking at controls down the bottom of the screen, your eyes just going to be too far away from the road. If you want to watch YouTube and Netflix, you have to watch it in landscape mode on a portrait mode screen, so it's way smaller than it needs to be. Now, I talked about the possibility of swapping my 3 for a Y. I would not swap my 3 for an X, but if I was rich, I would keep my Model 3 and I'd buy a second-hand Model X, and I'd use the Model 3 for nipping to Tesco's, and I'd use the Model X for doing long journeys whenever it is I end up doing those. And the logic behind that is it's just a really cool car. Obviously, the Falcon doors are super unique, even though it's a very similar size to the Model Y, and it's got the same capacity and you can fit 7 people in both cars. The Model X can just do cool things, like the fact that the doors open and close for you. So yeah, if I had 3 times as much money as I currently do, I'd consider getting a second-hand Model X to run alongside my Model 3, because it'd be a really nice car to have when we were going on long journeys with multiple passengers, with our dogs, with our stuff and our passengers' stuff. You'd be able to fit everything in the car absolutely fine. But I don't have second-hand Model X kind of money, so I think that's very unlikely that that's going to happen. Or at least it's not going to happen in the next 2 years, and in which case I'll get me Cybertruck instead. And then finally, there's the Tesla Roadster. Obviously, there's the Tesla lorry, or I don't remember what it's called. Yeah, the Tesla Semi, but what am I going to do with that? That's not fitting in my garage, is it? Tesla Roadster, not yet available, but I believe they're starting work at the end of this year. It's an absolutely incredible vehicle. It can do 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. It has a max speed of 250 miles per hour. It looks absolutely beautiful. But what the hell am I going to do with one of them? First of all, it costs about £250,000, which we do not have. But second, I've already said that my standard range Model 3 at 5.3 seconds is fast enough for me, so I just feel a danger to myself and others in a Tesla Roadster. I do think that we could get some incredible YouTube videos with it, but I don't think I'm ever going to be able to afford one. There is the possibility that we could win one because of our Tesla referrals, because apparently if someone uses your referral code for Tesla, you get entered into a prize draw and there's a chance of winning one of these once a month. Now, if I won one of these, I've nowhere to park it. We live on a nice little housing estate. We can only fit 2 cars on the drive, and I'm not getting rid of that Citroen. I can't have a Roadster parked in a housing estate in Worksop, can I? We'd just turn into a Target, wouldn't we? I'm never going to buy a Tesla Roadster, but if I did happen to win one, I think that I would just keep it in a fancy storage facility. I'd maybe rent it out to rich people to borrow on track days for an extortionate amount of money. And then because it's a Founders Edition, I'd just sell the car in 5 or 10 years when it's hopefully worth more because it would have low mileage and be in good condition and it'd be a Founders Edition. I don't know why I'm putting so much thought into this. We are never getting a Tesla Roadster. But I guess if you do want to purchase a Tesla, please use my referral code because that does increase our chances of getting a Roadster. We could really make some YouTube videos out of that. 20 people have purchased a Tesla with my referral code already, which is ridiculous. When we started this channel, I didn't expect we'd get one person actually purchase one. But that has helped save the world 4,500 pounds of CO2 and 3,500 gallons of gasoline, so that is pretty cool to know. Thank you so much if you're one of those 20. I hope you're very happy. Send me a picture of your car on Twitter as well if you've got it. Alright, let's end the video there. That's why I ordered a Cybertruck. If I can afford one in 2 years' time, that'd be awesome. If I can't, no stress, I'll just get my £100 back. Let me know your opinions on all of the cars that I've talked about in the video. I'm sure there will be lots of you that heavily disagree with what I've said, but it's my opinion. You can't take away my opinion. Alright, thanks for watching. We upload twice a week, so make sure you subscribe. See you later.